ready when you are.
Okay, great. So why don't we actually start with telling us your name and a little bit about your family, your background, and how you ended up in St. Mary's County.
Well, my name is Joan Groves Briscoe, and my parents were William and Rebecca Groves, and they lived in California, Maryland, and I lived there along with them for a time. And we came from New York, and we lived in East Elmhurst. There were 5 of us, 2 girls and three boys. And I had gone to the public schools for colored kids originally. And my father had heard about all of the enthusiasm that so many people had had about integrating the schools. And he looked around St. Mary's County and there was no integration. And so he thought, well, why wouldn't we try? We would go ahead and try to integrate. And so he was a member of the NAACP, and he found out from them what was going on, and that there would have to be a court case in order for us to be able to go to school. It wasn't an automatic thing. And so the attorneys for the NAACP got all the information from our family that they needed to go to court to request permission for us to go to school. And so the first school that we tried was Great Mills High School. Later on, my brother went to Riken High School, the Catholic high school in the area. And we took the case to court, and we won the case. And so we were supposed to start school together, my brother and myself. And I was in the 12th grade. I was going into the 12th grade from the 11th grade. And that's where I started.
Okay, great. I have a technical question here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking with the cup, since it's so close, maybe we could move the cup a little bit?
Yeah.
Because it looks, you know what I mean? It's a lot closer to, no, you can stay there, stay there. Can we just move your cup over a bit?
I see what you're saying. Right.
It's great. If you
I was
drink,
wondering
you
about
want it,
it.
you can drink from that. I just
Right,
realized,
but not in
you
front
know how
of
when
me.
you put, yeah, it looks larger, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was great. So, so it was your, really your father's idea to
Yes,
do
it
this. Can
was.
you just tell me about that again a little bit? How that idea evolved? What your a little bit about your father. Tell us a little bit about your father.
Well, my father was an entrepreneur. He was a licensed electrician. And my father wanted to make a difference in the community. As far as I know, he was the first black licensed electrician in St. Mary's County. And we had been through a lot of things personally in our family. And he wanted to make a plus in our family life and in the community life. And one of the things that we all had complained about moving to St. Mary's County was that the schools weren't integrated. We were going to have to go to a colored school, and we didn't think that the black schools were in as good a shape as they should have been, and they weren't. And so my father wanted to make a difference. And so he decided to find out from the NAACP, what did he have to do? What did anybody have to do? And that was how he got us interested. And then after he found out from them, he came home and he talked to my mother, and then he talked to my brother and myself and asked us about going to an integrated school. And so since we had gone to integrated schools before, that was not our first time going to an integrated school. And we told them that was fine. We had never had any problem. We had been doing that all along. We didn't know what it would be like to be the first ones, but we didn't have a problem with doing that at all.
That's, I actually was going to ask you how you felt about being the first, one.
Well, we were the first ones in St. Mary's County, but not the first ones in our lives to go to integrated school ever since I had been going to school. You remember, I'm saying I was going into the 12th grade now, but for 8, 9, 10 years, I had been going to an integrated school in New York, so that was not my first time going to an integrated school.
Okay.
So it didn't bother me.
Did you? Well, you might have felt proud. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I was glad. I was glad to go. I don't think I really realized what this was going to mean to other kids. I really don't think so. Because when I went to school before, it never meant anything to anybody. I was just going to an integrated school. So when I started in St. Mary's County, I knew that this was the first time, and I knew that other kids would probably have a chance to go too. But I really did not, I don't think I realized how significant it would be if I had not gone to an integrated school before.
Okay, great. So there's a photo in the Enterprise. There was a photo
Yes,
in the Enterprise.
I remember that.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that first day and the media and how you felt and your parents felt and what that first day. Or
Well,
the night before too, how you felt.
The night before, I was excited about getting my clothes ready and all my school supplies and things like that. I was excited about going to an integrated school for the first time down in St. Mary's. And when we were leaving the house to come to school, we didn't go on an integrated bus. As I remember it, the bus came and there was nobody on it except my brother and myself. And when we stood at the door of the house to come out, my mother and father came out with me, and I remember some pictures being taken. I know that there was a policeman, there was a state trooper that accompanied us to school. That's what I can remember. And on the school bus, it was just my brother and myself. That was it. That was odd. We always went to school with a bunch of kids. And when we got to school, I don't remember what happened going in. I remember, the only thing I remember is I remember some kids calling us names and saying ugly things, saying what they were going to do to us and that type of thing. But I don't remember a whole lot about that. I really don't. I remember the teachers being very kind and very good to us. There were only a few teachers that had segregation on their mind. The teachers that had been born and raised in St. Mary's County, they had a problem. But the other teachers didn't. I remember there was one guy that taught me English, and a very nice guy, a young man. And he was just as kind as he could be to me. I remember my business teacher. She was just as kind as she could be to me. She wasn't from St. Mary's County. That's the kind of things, those are the kind of things that I remember. I remember those two people significantly. I'm not saying they weren't others, but in my mind, those are the two that I remember. Those are the two that stand out.
How did you know that some of those teachers weren't, how did you know they had segregation on their minds?
Well, Mrs. Mattingly, I think, was the principal. And I believe that her brother might have been an elected official. And I know that, I believe from my father discussing different things with me, that they were not for integration. And so I remember I remember her having a problem with it. I don't remember if she had a sister teaching there at the school too, but I remember that they were not for integration, like my English teacher and my business teacher. I remember that very specifically.
I was wondering if it was anything about the way they behaved or their actions or anything that told you that.
She never did anything that I can remember pointedly that showed me that she was not for integration. No.
Okay. I think we talked a little bit before about Conrad's experience. Do you feel that your brother's experience was significantly different? Could you talk a little bit about your brother's experience there, what you were aware of, or what you may have talked about afterwards?
I remember from what my brother told me that I think kids may have been meaner to him than they were to me. Maybe they weren't. Maybe I just didn't pay any attention to them, because it really didn't bother me. As long as I got to school, as long as I got my homework, as long as I knew what was going on in the classroom, it didn't bother me about what people thought about me or what they said about me. That didn't bother me. But my brother was a different person. Each child is different. And some things bother one child, didn't bother another child. And so I think my brother really was hurt because of the way that he talked when we came home, and the things that he said, people said to him. They wanted to beat him up, that kind of stuff. And maybe because he was a boy, he didn't want to sit back for that. I don't know. I never paid any attention to that. I just said, well, if you can catch me, or if you can find me, or if you want to do that, and so forth. But it didn't really bother me the way that it bothered him. But I know it did bother him. I could tell.
Okay. How did your family, what was your family's experience like through the year, as far as what did that mean to your family, the experience of you and Conrad going to Great Mills?
Well, they were just concerned that nothing would happen to us physically at school. And it didn't. We never got in a big fight with anybody that whole year that I went to school there. My mother and father were very, very interested in what happened each day. They wanted to know so that if there was anything to take to the NAACP or to the school board, that they would do it. I don't remember whether my father was on the school board at that time or not, but I know my father had been on the school board. I think he had been on the school board before that time. And all I know is that they were very active in taking care of anything that would come up, or any questions that he had, or anything that wasn't right. They were very involved in that.
I just realized we haven't actually said what year that was that you went to Great
Well,
Mills.
I graduated in 1959, so I came to school in 1958.
Okay. And when you look back on that, your experience, what were the highs and the lows of that year now, when you look back on it?
The highs were the kids that were, the kids and the teachers that were so kind to me. I really remember that. I really do. The ones that wanted to help me with my schoolwork, that wanted to help me to have a friend in class, the ones that treated me like I was a human being and not an animal. I remember that. That was great. That was really, really great. I'm thinking I remember my commercial teacher's name. It might have been Miss Slotkin. I'm not sure, but that name is coming to my mind. I know she was very kind to me, very, very good to me. And there were those kinds of things. I think I remember going to a dance or something that we had socially at school. And I'm pretty sure that my husband took me. That's what I think. I think I was going out with him then. And I remembered it being nice, but I remembered the kids bothering my brother, and I remember them saying things that weren't kind. But believe it or not, now, some of the kids that I went to school with still communicate with me. And I don't get a chance to go down for the class reunion like I'd like to. But I've been invited to it. And here again, there was a lot of the kids whose parents were in the service or something like that were not natives of St. Mary's County. They've been very, very kind, very good to me. Yeah, I remember that.
So not much in the way of lows. That's good.
The lows don't really bother me. I don't know why, but I guess maybe it's been so many years since I had them, and maybe because I didn't dwell on them.
Yeah.
I don't really dwell on the lows. I really don't. Just thankful to God for the highs.
When you, in retrospect, how do you feel about the decision that your father, I guess more than your mother,
Mm-hmm.
your parents made,
Right.
versus maybe going to Cardinal Gibbons or something?
Oh, I know that was right. I'm sure that was right. I'm glad I had a chance to go to Great Mills. I really am. Cardinal Gibbons was a good high school. Jarvisville that I went to, that was a good school. Banneker was a good school. Those were good black schools. But I'm glad that I had a chance to graduate from Great Mills. I believe that as I've gone along in life, that graduating from Great Mills helped me, as opposed to saying that I had graduated from Cardinal Gibbons or one of the segregated schools. Because after I got married, my husband and I moved, I was already living in Washington when we got married, but I remember us getting jobs here in Washington, and I believe that helped me. I really do. To say that I had graduated from Great Mills.
To say that you had?
Mm-hmm. To be able to report that on when I was filling out an application for a job. I think that it did. Of course, at that particular time, as I'm remembering it, things were not all that integrated in Washington. One of the first jobs that I had in the government, I don't remember anybody white being in that office. I'm not saying that there wasn't. I don't remember it. If they were there, I don't remember it.
Okay. Aaron, do you have any questions? Is that outside eye?
One that I can think of right now.
Is there anything else, as you've thought about it, you knew we were going to come and do this, that you feel like you haven't said in the other interviews or this interview that you'd like to say?
Well, I guess I said I was glad for it. I don't know, but if not, I want to say that now. I'm glad for having had the experience to integrate a school. I'm glad for having gone to Great Mills. I'm not sorry one bit. I'm glad for every teacher and all of the experiences that we had. I don't regret it at all. I'm not sorry. I'm happy about it. And having heard over the years all the black kids that have gone to Great Mills and the other schools, I'm so happy for them. I really, really, really am. I'm so grateful to God for giving them a chance to go to an integrated school as opposed to having to just go to Cardinal Gibbons and the other black schools. I know that those were better schools. I know that they were supplied better than the black schools. I know that they had good teachers, and not that we didn't have good teachers, because we had some of the best teachers. But to be able to have the good supplies, the good schools, the good teachers, and the kids to come to an integrated school, I know is better for us than to just have to go to a black school and use old textbooks and not have the best of everything to learn from. I don't know what the kids are doing with it now. I hope they're utilizing it, because it wasn't that way when we were going to school. I hope they are taking advantage of every opportunity they have to get a good education, because that was not our opportunity at that particular time. And so I'm glad for that. I'm really, really, really glad, and I'm hoping that the kids are taking advantage of it now.
That's a great last word.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. I think we've got it.
All right.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.
We'll open your windows.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.